Hey guys, Brian Castro here with Better Chess Training, and in today's video, we're going to discuss tournament tips for beginners. Okay, we're going to start here the night before the tournament. Okay, the first tip here is to don't focus on chess study. Hopefully, at this point, you have done all of the studying that you should do for this tournament. Anything that you really take in today won't really be very useful for you in the tournament. Hopefully, you've done the hard work already, so it's not time to learn a new variation in a chess opening. However, if you want to just enjoy a game or watch a chess video for enjoyment, that's fine. Just don't overdo it. The main idea here before the tournament is to relax, okay? So clear your mind, maybe watch a movie. Nothing too taxing mentally, okay? It's not a time to solve any algebraic proofs or anything like that, okay? And the big key here is to get a good night's sleep, okay? Um, Again, hopefully you've been doing this right up to this point, but especially before the tournament, you want to feel rested. Okay, on the morning of the tournament, you definitely want to have a good breakfast. Unless you feel that, unless you have some nerves or issues like that, and you usually don't eat breakfast, but I recommend having a good breakfast. Don't overeat, but it's not super helpful to be hungry during your games. You want to check your equipment. If you're going to a tournament where you have to bring your own board and pieces and clock, make sure that you have all of that in your bag. If you have a clock with it requires a battery or batteries, make sure that you have extras. Also, if you have to keep score, make sure you have your score book and any pens you might need. And this is important too. Get there early. If it's especially if it's a tournament site you've never been to, it's important to get there early and try to be familiar with the playing surroundings. Now, before your games, so after you get there, before your games, here's a few things that I find helpful. Go for a comfortable walk. Okay, so it's not time to race your friends, or it's not time to run a half marathon before your chess game. But just go for a comfortable walk. This recommendation comes from the great world champion Botvinnik, who emphasized physical activity before games. The next part is to identify one performance objective, and we'll talk about more about that in a second. But something related to how you play the game or how you're going to perform that you're going to try to focus on this particular game, and just something that's going to help you there. Okay, I do some type of meditation or deep breathing before my tournament games, usually after I take a little walk right before my game, and there's many techniques on that. I use an app called Headspace. That's at headspace.com, and I'll mention that in the notes. And I would limit any type of playing or blitz. I know with the kids, they like to play blitz games right up to the time the tournament is, but I would say limit that. If it helps you to relax, that's one thing, but you are using up that mental energy that might otherwise be better reserved for your game. Now, here's some sample performance objectives. And again, this is not a comprehensive list, but just some ideas. You want to be, like, for example, being mindful of your clock time, especially if you tend to get into time trouble. Get up and walk around when tense. So, just a reminder to yourself to do this when you feel tense during your game. Don't talk to friends between moves. Keep my pieces active. Keep my king safe in the opening. Again, if it's a problem you have in your games, you often get busted in the opening. That might be a good reminder right before your game. Identify my opponent's threats and plans, and have a plan for each move. And again, the idea here is to maybe pick one or two right before your game that you're going to think about during the game. And typically, this is about knowing yourself, and maybe if you work with a coach, something that you can discuss with him or her. Okay, now during the game, again, I'm not focusing on the actual chess moves you're going to be making, but just some ideas to remember while you're playing the game. And the first one is to slow down. Especially if you're new to tournament chess and you're new to using clocks, the general tendency is to speed up. And so here I'm telling you to take your time. You have plenty of time, unless it's a blitz tournament, a regular time control, 30 minutes per side, 45 minutes per side or more. You're going to have plenty of time. The tendency is to play quickly because we're anxious and nervous. So remind yourself to slow down. The next tip here is to get up occasionally. Okay, and there's actually some science behind this. Um, we're so focused in our games that we're doing a lot of calculations. Sometimes we need to get up and disengage from the position we're looking at and maybe look around and even look at other chess positions. I mean, you don't want to do any deep analysis of other people's games, but just get up, walk around, maybe get a drink of water. And what this does is it relaxes you and will allow your mind to take in inputs from other sources and help you to maybe incorporate that into your thinking and maybe give you a new perspective on the thinking. Now, this next tip is again, if you're really new to tournaments and or maybe just played one or two, when you're in doubt and you feel like your opponent, who may also be a beginner, makes a rule that's not legal, don't try to argue with him right there. Contact the tournament director. So when before the tournament starts, you want to make sure you know who this person is. And what would happen is basically you would stop the clocks and either raise your hand or get up and look for the tournament director and just tell him the situation and let him help you sort it out. Okay, so but the main thing here is do not argue with your opponent. Now, after the game, very important, be a good sport, shake your opponent's hand, whether you win or lose, and offer to engage in some post-mortem analysis. If you're in a big tournament, you might want to leave the actual area, set up your board. A lot of bigger tournaments have what they call Skittles rooms, where you can set up your board and talk about the game. Now, my idea here is that you want to look at it so while it's fresh in your mind, but you also don't want to spend too much time worrying about it. So, take a few minutes, look at some interesting positions. If there's a tip that you can learn, maybe from a mistake you made, go ahead and do that. But then the key is once you're done with that, let go of the result. If you won, that's great. Congratulate yourself, but don't get too overconfident for the next match. Try to relax. Try to get into preparing for the next round. If you lost, again, let it go. You lost the game, but you've got another round in a little bit. So don't dwell on it too much and don't let it bother you too much. I actually just read a tournament report of an individual, a grandmaster. He actually lost two of his first four games in a 9 round tournament, but he won the rest of his games and he came back to tie for first and actually win on tie breaks. So if you lose a game early in a tournament, it's really not that big of a deal. Just shake it off and move on. Okay, and then between your games, the idea here is to really try to relax and get your mind set for the next round. So go ahead and hang out with your friends. Again, limit your blitz. If it helps you to play or keeps you relaxed and have fun, and you can play a little bit, but again, don't overdo it. Analyze with your friends. If they're looking at their games, go ahead and enjoy that. But the key is here is that you are relaxed. And another important part here, to feed the mind, you need to eat. Okay, bring some snacks. Whenever I go to tournaments, and now as I'm bringing my kids to tournaments, I always bring some granola bars, some fruit, water bottles. Make sure you don't want to overeat. You don't want to be too full and be bloated during your game, but you want to keep those calories going to your brain because your brain uses a lot of nutrition and calories while you're playing. Okay, and just to sum this up, you want to be prepared before your tournament. So that's preparing your mind and your body by getting a good night's sleep and a good dinner. Also preparing your equipment, making sure you have everything you need so you're not worrying about that at the tournament hall. You want to warm up your before your games in terms of your mind and your body. Take a little walk. Prepare your mind with some deep breathing or meditation. You want to focus and relax during your games. And like I said, you want to focus on specific moves, but again, get up occasionally. And then between your games, you really want to kind of gear back a little bit. Go shift down so that you're not totally focused between your games. So you want to relax, you want to enjoy between your games, and don't forget to eat as well. Hey guys, I hope you found this discussion helpful, and I hope that it helps you in your tournament games. So let me know what you thought, and uh, let me know some recent results if you were able to use some of these tips. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and if you're not already subscribed, do that as well. Good luck at your future tournaments, and I will talk to you soon.